Good afternoon, Tsupiteros. Welcome again to Pillow Talks. Um, I missed Pillow Talks yesterday, but today's a Monday, it's a holiday, and I'm doing it this afternoon. I have a different background. If you noticed, I'm staying at my mom's house right now. Um, okay, so just like before, I start off with analyzing the markets. And but before I begin, I'd like to thank my sponsor, APS Online. If you'd like to trade with a broker that has excellent research, do trade with APS Online. Okay, so let me start off again by looking at the index, looking at the markets. So I was hoping that the markets would hit 7.4 at the very least for this massive uptrend of the market since mid-October. But unfortunately, it seems like we already peaked at the 7,263 level, and we're pulling back down from that peak. Okay, so if you look at the chart of the markets right now, the fact that we did like 4 black candles in a row this past week is already indicative, most likely, that we hit a possible medium term peak here at 7,263. Okay, so the wave structure is complete. We've got a 5-wave structure here, and we will most likely move in a sideways trend from this point on. I'm guessing that what we are going to do here is like what we did right here in the last couple of months. We're going to do another range trading trend in the next couple of weeks. I do expect some fireworks at the end of the year still, for that traditional window dressing day at the end of the year. January is normally still a bullish month before we approach the traditionally bearish February to April period. Okay, so that's how it is, no? In the short term, in the very short term, the market is a bit oversold now, and the adjustments or the changes to the MSCI index has probably capitulated the bears last Friday. So I'm guessing that from this point on, come Tuesday and Wednesday, come tomorrow and Wednesday, we will probably rally from here and hopefully climb back up to about the 7,100 to maybe the 7,000 to 7,100 levels. I don't expect the market to climb back to the highs, but I on a best case scenario, who knows? We may still retest the highs, okay? But maybe no new highs from this point on. All right, for now. Okay, so for those of you who have been using trend following strategies in the last couple of weeks, I think it's now time to shift gears and maybe use your range trading strategies once again. Okay, so I don't expect a bear market from here. We are not going to trend down from here, but it looks like we will do another sideways trend. Okay, there is a gap. This red line here is a gap at 6,685. If ever we still do drop from here, I expect the market to hold above that line and probably climb back up. So let's see, I expect Monday or Tuesday to be bullish already for the markets, and but in the medium term, probably all the way to January, we will start, or probably even all the way to the just before just before the second quarter reports come out. I expect the markets to be in a sideways range. Okay, so it's gonna be a stock picking market again. The blues will likely go up and down, so get ready for that. Okay, so in the meantime, before I continue with my video, I'd like to thank another one of my sponsors, AAA Equities. So if you'd like to trade with a broker that has automated stops and automated breakout orders, do trade with AAA Equities. Okay, so in the second part of my video for this afternoon, I'd like to I have a PowerPoint presentation here. Okay, here you go. And I'll be talking about the MSCI Index as well as RLC. Okay, so what is the MSCI Index, by the way? The MSCI Index is the Morgan Stanley index, and a lot of index funds actually follow the MSCI. So a lot of funds, not only locally but internationally. So if these guys, if MSCI let's say removes or adds a stock in the index, all these funds that are following the MSCI normally will also remove or add those stocks in their portfolios. So just recently, it was announced that RLC is going to be taken out of the standard index and was going to be transferred to the small cap index of the MSCI. So that's a big thing, no? All those there are bigger funds that are following the standard index as compared with the small cap index, of course, no? That is why if a stock is taken out of the standard index, all these funds would start selling their positions in RLC. Okay, so here are the MSCI adjustments for the last quarter. RLC was removed from the standard index and transferred to the small cap index, and then RLC and ACEM were added to the small cap index, and Shell was removed from the small cap index. Okay, and here are the projected flows in millions of dollars on the index stocks that are affected by the MSCI adjustments. Okay, so if I say here that BPI is 93.99, that would mean that there are a projected 93 or almost $94 million of funds that are projected to buy into BPI before it gets before the changes to the MSCI becomes effective come on Tuesday. Okay, so for this round of the MSCI index, all the changes will be effective on Tuesday. Okay, so as you can see here in this table, almost all the stocks have a negative flow. Okay, when you say passive flows, these are from index funds. Okay, there are those that are from active flows, and there are those from passive flows. When you say passive flows, these are funds that are just dumbly following the MSCI index. Of course, there are also foreign funds that are actively managing their portfolios and are not really tracking the indices. So for those guys, we don't really know what they're going to do. So, but for the passive flows, or for those that are just dumbly following the indices, these are the projected outflows or inflows. Okay, so the only stock that had an inflow for this round of the MSCI adjustments is actually BPI, which is why if you look at the chart of BPI, let's go to BPI here. It has been very strong the last couple of weeks, and it only actually dropped last Friday, okay, so but prior to last Friday, it has just been very strong. Why? Because that's due to to this $94 million of passive flows that BPI was getting, okay, for this round. Okay, and then on the other end of the spectrum, because RLC will be taken out of the index, you have an almost $48 million outflow towards RLC. The next big outflows will be from SM Prime, Ayala Land, SM, Ayala Corp, and then JG Summit. Okay, so let me just explain. All these funds have already adjusted and have already sold or bought into these stocks come Friday closing. Okay? So, tapos na. Nangyari na lahat to. Okay? So, they are all preparing for the effectivity of the new indices come Tuesday. Okay? So, last Friday was actually the last day for these funds to rebalance their portfolios ahead of changes to the MSCI Index. Okay, so what does that mean? This is the reason why BPI started dropping last Friday. Why? Because come Tuesday, wala nang bibili ng BPI, right? All those who wanted to buy BPI has already bought into BPI in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so come next week, there's just no one left who's going to buy BPI. I mean, when it comes to these funds that are following the MSCI Index. Okay, so tapos na eh. Lahat ng gustong pumasok because of the changes of the MSCI Index to BPI have already gotten in as of last Friday. Okay, on the other hand, let's look at RLC. Okay, you see this big volume of RLC last Friday. On the other hand, everybody who wanted to sell RLC because of the changes to the MSCI Index have already sold as of last Friday. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint here. Okay, here are some examples of two stocks that were taken out of either the MSCI Index or the PSEI Index. So let's see what happened to each one of them. So Security Bank was removed from the MSCI Index effective last June 1, 2020. And Semirara was removed from the PSEI Index effective August 17, 2020. Okay, so let's look at Security Bank first. So this encircled part in the chart that you see here is when Security Bank was taken out of the index. It was the big volume here. The day after that big volume there is the effectivity of the changes to the MSCI Index, wherein Security Bank was no longer part of the standard index of the MSCI. So look what happened. Of course, the stock was dropping prior to the news or prior to the effectivity of the changes to the MSCI Index, because the passive funds who held on to Security Bank were selling out of the stock. Okay, but after that day, when it has become effective already, the changes has become effective already, the stock just never looked back anymore. In fact, it just never even retested those lows anymore. It just went straight up in the short term. It started to consolidate, and it's now well above that low last last May. All right. And then we have Semirara. Semirara wasn't part of the MSCI index, but it was part of the PSEI index. It's the same thing, you know. Semirara, there are a lot of funds that are following the PSEI index. So if you take out Semirara from the PSEI index, then a lot of funds will be required to sell their positions in Semirara. So again, the encircled part of the chart is when Semirara got effectively taken out of the PSEI index, and just after that day, it just never looked back and just started to climb back up again. Okay, so during that time, the stock was doing about $9. Right now, it's doing more than $12 already. So here we go again with RLC. RLC was taken out of the standard index, and you have that big spike in the volume again last Friday. On Tuesday, RLC will be officially out of the standard index of the MSCI. And so what's gonna happen? All those funds who have sold all those funds who wanted to sell RLC have already sold. So come Tuesday, there's just no one left of these funds, of these passive funds, who are still going to sell into RLC. There's going to be a little less supply from the stock of RLC. That is the reason why prices can go higher from here. Another reason why RLC could start going up is that because RLC was taken out of the MSCI index, it has lagged the performances of all the other property stocks in the last couple of weeks. So these are the performances of all the other of its peers, of its the likes of Ayala Land, Fly, MegaWorld, VLL. So VLL was in the period of October 30 to November 27. VLL was up for more than 40%. MegaWorld is up more than 26%. FLI is up 17%. Ayala Land is up 15%. And RLC is only up by just over 10%. No, so even if RLC just catches up to the gains of Ayala Land, that's already a 5% move from current levels. Okay? And then finally, we have this Bloomberg consensus of all the property stocks. If you compare MegaWorld, SM Prime, Ayala Land, FLI, and VLL to RLC, all of them, the consensus of Bloomberg among its analysts that are taking part in these surveys is that all these companies will still have a lower growth and recovery as compared to pre-COVID levels. Okay, it is only RLC that will almost be at the same level of output and income prior to COVID, prior to the pandemic, by come next year. Okay, so just because of this chart, just because of this table, this is already a good reason to buy RLC. So you have the weak performance in November, which prices can catch up to its peers, and you also have this reason to buy RLC, which is it will have the fastest recovery among all the other property companies next year. So just in the short term, my upside targets for RLC is about 19 to 20 pesos per share. But if you are willing to wait until the second quarter earnings reports come out, I do believe that RLC can retest its previous high of 22.90. Okay, so if you just follow the trend here in the short term, I think RLC can climb back up to these levels here. Okay, just following the trend. But for the medium term, I believe that it can retest this high of about 2290. And if a conservative time frame for hitting that level again would be come the second quarter earnings report, which comes out normally about early to mid-May. Okay, so if you're willing to wait until what is that, 5 or 6 months down the road, I expect RLC to hit at the very least 2290 per share or even higher. So that's it, guys. I hope you learned something from me again. Yes, of course, I'm recommending RLC. Just to be fair with you guys, of course, I was a big buyer of RLC yesterday, and I have quite a bias in RLC right now. I love the stock. I like the setup. But it's not too late to buy on Tuesday, as you've seen what happened to Semirara or Security Bank. That's it. Good luck to us, and see you again next week. Bye.